Tesla is the newest car company and the only US automaker since Ford to reach volume production without going bankrupt, according to Elon Musk. Many have bet against them heavily over the years, but lately Tesla is hitting their stride and people aren't betting against them like they used to. Just recently, Tesla announced their Q3 2021 delivery numbers, and amongst a huge industry-wide demand for cars, delays for chips, and supplies overall, Tesla managed to hit yet another delivery record. They delivered 241,300 vehicles in Q3 at the same time that many well-established long-term players in the industry have sold less vehicles due to supply issues and other factors. So what is Tesla doing different and how are they growing in the midst of all of these challenges? There are a number of things at play, so let's get into it, and a special thanks to Bellroy for sponsoring this video. Cars have been available for a number of years at this point. Overall, things have gotten better, new features have been brought, but the core function of a gasoline-powered car hasn't changed too much. Still, advanced features in modern cars from every company require semiconductor chips to operate, and as most know by now, these have been in high demand and short supply for a good amount of time now. Building up foundries for these chips takes a long time, so more factories isn't a quick fix, and around 53% of automakers get their chips from outside the US, according to recent surveys. Automakers are looking for new suppliers, but ultimately, most have built their cars to require a specific chip and specific firmware. They are car companies, so working on new firmware for new chips isn't a core part of their normal business routine and takes time to work through. This has caused many top manufacturers to stockpile cars that are 99.9% complete, but missing these essential chips. In September, it was reported that GM, who has already stopped some factories on and off, will have to idle 6 more of their North American plants for a couple weeks due to chip supply. Earlier this year, parking lots full of F-150s were seen at the Kentucky Speedway as they were waiting on chips, and Ford, like GM, had to shut down an assembly plant for 2 weeks in September, compounding the already short supply of vehicles. In August, sales of Ford's F-Series trucks fell nearly 23%, and quotes from experts in the industry paint a picture that is not looking great for the near future of vehicle production. Kevin Roberts, director of industry insights for CarGurus.com, said, quote, "Now the prospects for new sales for the rest of the year continue to dim with the reality that tight inventory will last well into 2022. Of course, the core of these issues is something that vehicle companies couldn't have prevented, but they all seem to be navigating the issues in a very different way than Tesla does. It's important to keep in mind that Tesla is a smaller company for now, producing less vehicles each quarter than other automakers do, though. Ford, for example, sold about 400,843 vehicles in Q3, about 160,000 more than Tesla, and that was down by over 27% from last year from Ford. These shortages have led to a raging used car market, since if you need a car now, that has become one of the more promising options, and overall costs and prices have been going up. First off, it's pretty well known that electric vehicles are still more expensive than gasoline equivalents. This is due to battery costs and something everyone, especially Tesla, is working on getting lower and lower for future vehicles. However, currently, their cheapest, lowest range vehicle just went up in price and starts right around $42,000. That just updated and has continued to rise over the past year, seeing as much as a $5,000 increase in the past year due to overall industry shortages. Many don't see how this is selling so well, but according to Kelley Blue Book, the average transaction price for the vehicle industry as a whole has risen up to $42,258 as of June. People are paying more and more for their vehicles, and we see this a lot with people willing to pay a bit extra to get the advantages of going fully electric. This is one way that more and more people keep buying Teslas. The advantages of going electric are getting more obvious, and Tesla is producing the best electric vehicles you can buy. Many would argue the best vehicles you can buy overall. Not only do they provide everything electric cars provide, like incredibly convenient charging at home, zero emissions, far less maintenance, instant torque, speed, and all of that, but they include Tesla's autopilot system by default, allowing you to have incredibly high-level cruise control and lane keeping when you want it. They are also the safest vehicles you can buy, and that's not an exaggeration. First, Teslas include great safety features as part of their autopilot system to prevent an accident. On top of that, with autopilot enabled and driving for you, the risk of a crash lowers significantly. Then, if you get into an accident, the Model 3 has the lowest probability of injury of any car ever tested by NHTSA, with the Model Y, Model S, and Model X all achieving an overall 5-star rating as well. There are numerous other reasons why people want to buy these cars, but that's not the full story here. Tesla has continued to sell cars, navigate supply issues, and meet demand because at their core, they are a software company with very different strategies for supply and future product integrations. They vertically integrate in ways that many don't fully understand, down to their acoustic glass in their newest cars and 22-speaker sound systems in their new Model S and X as well, just as examples. vehicles. Tesla just recently posted a video called Test the Glass, The Secret to a Quiet Cabin. In that, they detail the work that they are doing at their Glass Technology Center to make their cabins quieter, among other advances for the glass roof and such. Other automakers of course work on these things, but having the Glass Technology Center next door to the spot where the software is being written for the cars isn't super common amongst automakers. Tesla's sound systems don't hold the name of someone like Bose or B&O to attract people to them, but they are on par if not better than the systems made by these companies for vehicles. This is something else people don't fully realize. Just because Tesla doesn't have a company supplying the sound system in their cars does not mean that they aren't good. Elon Musk detailed this in a tweet saying, quote, "Lot of good work happening on Tesla's sound codec and audio software in general, aiming for maximum music dopamine in your brain." This tweet came in response to an audio update Tesla pushed to all cars, improving slider controls and immersive sound settings. Tesla themselves continues to improve their sound systems and integrate them into their cars directly, rather than designing the car with a third party entirely to supply that aspect of it. They continue to work on audio and sound codecs at their design studio, and Elon continues to reiterate, quote, "Tesla audio engineering is great. Their vertical integration is beyond that of most vehicle companies, and sometimes it does come with downsides, like certain features designed by them not quite operating as well as ones we are used to standard in other cars. An example of this might be something like their headlights or auto windshield wipers, but vertical integration also has its advantages beyond what we've discussed. Of course, they can integrate things better to make the full car experience work together seamlessly and bring down their own prices, but they also get more negotiating power as a result. They maintain great relationships with suppliers for the parts of their cars that they don't directly make, but, quote, "Its ability to further insource technology keeps suppliers on its toes while increasing collaboration at a rate that far exceeds other OEMs." Then, focusing on the software side, Tesla appears to be beating most, and that's by far the most important part of Tesla's business and advantages leading them into the future. More on that in just a minute. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Bellroy. Bellroy began in 2010 with a few slim wallets that prioritize your most used cards. Now they make products for any carry-focused tasks and are a highly rated B Corp that limits environmental impact, develops sustainable materials, and supports effective charities. This is their Apex Slim Sleeve. It's a slim wallet with pre-folded, precision-cut leather, a stitchless construction, and precise magnetic closure. A one-handed pinch can open up the wallet, and it closes with a satisfying magnetic click. This is a very different product to their classic backpack. It holds laptops up to 16 inches, includes a padded iPad or A5 document pocket, is water resistant, and has great padding in the straps and back. Their focus is on materials with everything they make, upcycling 5 million plastic water bottles into durable polyester for their bags and pouches, saving 15 million liters of water using gold-rated, dry tan leather, and much more. Click the link in the description below to check out Bellroy and receive 10% off of your purchase. The Tesla Model S from the beginning, when it launched in 2012, featured an incredibly large 17-inch touchscreen to control most of your in-car functions. In the Model 3 and now Y, Tesla took this to another level, giving the car an incredibly simplistic interior with most things controlled on its 15-inch touchscreen. In order to make the car this way and make a fully electric car operate and charge safely, you need to develop great software. If a 15-inch screen controlled everything and the software was terrible, nobody would buy this car. But it goes on from there since Tesla is working on self-driving so much. They developed their own full self-driving computer that is shipped in all of their cars for a number of years, and they continue to refine that in everything in the car, giving customers these features through over-the-air software updates just like your phone gets. Since they developed the hardware and software for their full self-driving system and aren't fully reliant on a third-party integration there, they can make changes as necessary to both sides of that puzzle in situations where they may need to change chips due to, say, some massive global supply shortages. Throughout the past year, Elon Musk and Tesla have expressed how incredibly difficult supply shortages have been to work through, and one particular insight was shared on their Q1 earnings report. Tesla said, quote, "While over-the-air software updates of maps and infotainment systems are becoming more common, firmware updates remain rare in the automotive industry. In Q1, we were able to navigate through global chip supply shortage issues in part by pivoting extremely quickly to new microcontrollers while simultaneously developing firmware for new chips made by new suppliers. Elon spoke about this a bit at the time, and then they detailed it even further 3 months later after navigating through more chip supply shortages, saying, quote, "Our team has demonstrated an unparalleled ability to react quickly and mitigate disruptions to manufacturing caused by semiconductor shortages. Our electrical and firmware engineering teams remain hard at work designing, developing, and validating 19 new variants of controllers in response to ongoing semiconductor shortages." So Tesla's team, working in-house, has been able to navigate chip shortages by working with the specific chips that are available and quickly rewriting the firmware necessary to make these chips work in their vehicles. They also have great relationships with these suppliers so that they truly understand what is going on in every aspect, as opposed to simply receiving chips and installing third-party created software onto them. In response to an article about AMD chip shortages letting up next year, Elon Musk said, quote, "AMD has been great to work with. This doesn't mean that it has been easy though, just that Tesla has the capability to pivot in ways most can't." In response to an article about how Tesla found chips this past quarter, Elon said, quote, "This was extremely difficult. Huge props to Tesla engineering, supply chain, production, and key suppliers." He continuously references all of these parts of Tesla's company that many don't know about: Tesla engineering, Tesla audio, Tesla glass, and so on, as Tesla updates their cars in small but significant ways throughout each year. Tesla never really ships a new model year vehicle. When they update their vehicles with small features here and there, they just update them on the assembly line as soon as they can. This sometimes can frustrate customers since you never know when is the best time to buy, as opposed to buying an iPhone where you know right around September is always the time to wait. It's easy to buy a Tesla and then find out a week later that a new feature came out, but this also ensures that you are always buying the latest vehicle as opposed to needing to wait for a yearly refresh. Regarding chip supply though, this approach has proven very useful as Tesla already has experience updating the cars frequently. 3 months ago, they were talking about designing, developing, and validating 19 new variants of controllers, and this is a huge part of what allowed them to ship more vehicles than ever before, when everyone else struggled to ship less than they normally do. Beyond that though is the fact that Tesla continuously pushes to new technologies. All of Tesla's cars ship standard with their full self-driving computer that, when given the right software, is capable of some incredibly impressive tasks. Over time, more and more of these capabilities are shipping to customers via software, and we will see a lot more in the future. But even on the new Model S, Tesla didn't just keep the same system. Instead, they decided to push further on these computers included in these cars. The full self-driving computer is the same, but the chips controlling the screens make those noticeably faster and more responsive than any other car Tesla has shipped. Again, when given the right software, it is capable of even more, with Tesla touting its ability to play PS5 level entertainment, running AAA games like Witcher and Cyberpunk 2077 inside a Tesla. This is something that excites customers, but also excites chip suppliers working on new technology in high demand. Over the past year, quote, "Replacement demand for big ticket items like new cars was pushed back, while sales of all kinds of home devices soared. When the car market roared back months later, chip makers had already reallocated their capacity. Now these processors are in short supply, and chip makers are telling car companies to wake up and finally join the 2010s. This is from a Fortune article posted last month, and it details how far behind the vehicle industry is on chips, and how chip companies just don't want to worry about continuing to make old technology anymore. When speaking of Intel's chief executive, Pat Gelsinger, Fortune said, quote, "Car makers have bombarded him with requests to invest in brand new production capacity for semiconductors featuring designs that, at best, were state-of-the-art when the first Apple iPhone launched. Gelsinger himself said, quote, "It just makes no economic or strategic sense. Rather than spending billions on new, old fabs, let's spend millions to help migrate designs to modern ones." Tesla doesn't fall into this category because they are, for the most part, shipping the latest technologies in their vehicles, and chip suppliers are eager to supply them, and have the capacity to do so on the latest chips. They are motivated to build up foundries of new chips, not old ones that they will have to migrate soon anyway. Qualcomm's European president said, quote, "The new technologies are not pin-to-pin compatible. It's not plug and play. You have to redesign the circuit, build a new board that might have to be recertified. Maybe there's some impact on the mechanical side that then could affect the car's chassis, so there is a domino effect of action needed. Car companies have to do tons of work to bring their cars up to spec, but for Tesla, that domino effect is a bunch of dominoes that all fall in line under their own company thanks to vertical integration. Need to upgrade the new chips to get supply? Well, let's have our firmware team rewrite software to make that work, and so on." Apple is a great example of a vertically integrated company. Like them or not, they control all aspects of their products to ensure a seamless experience across devices, in software, and in production. Tesla is taking a similar approach, and it's something that is new new and frightening to the auto industry. Young people like new things, and attachment to old legacy brand names will only hold for so long once people see how great new cars from new companies using new technologies truly are. Tesla is at the forefront of new vehicle technology in every aspect, from electrification to autonomy to chips, and this setup is how they are navigating supply chain issues no one else can. We'll see how this develops in the future, but Tesla just raised prices yet again, bringing the Model 3 to a starting price of $42,000 and the Model Y to a starting price of $55,000. People are buying more expensive cars these days, but ultimately, as great as everything I'm talking about is for them, their huge expansion should come with the successful introduction and scaling of a mass-market affordable $25,000 EV, which they spoke about specifically at Battery Day last year. A lot remains to be seen from Tesla, but this very well could be only the beginning. But what are your thoughts? Do you think Tesla will continue to grow each quarter, and how will they manage to produce a cheaper EV? Leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. In the meantime, if you want to see the latest on a lawsuit between Tesla and Rivian, a brand new car company, among other things, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.